Hi everybody, this video is designed to help you understand how to approach answering a question on your exam paper about photosynthesis. This particular question would be called a standard demand question, so this would be found on both the higher and foundation papers. The first two parts of the question are recall questions, and this means that it's facts that you need to have learnt for the exam. For the first question, you need to learn this equation. Carbon dioxide plus water forms glucose plus oxygen. Now, it has asked for a word equation, so it's really important that you don't get lazy and start using formulae in the middle of it. You must write carbon dioxide, water and oxygen in full. This next question is also a fact recall question, and it's worth reminding yourself of the structure of a plant cell. Here's an image, and it's the chloroplasts that were within that plant cell that contain a pigment called chlorophyll, which is green, and it makes the plant look green. Knowing this makes it really easy to answer that question. Part 3 requires us to understand the link between starch and glucose. We already have the equation at the first part of the answer and tells us that glucose is produced, and this is the useful product for photosynthesis. However, it can't be stored as glucose. This is because it's too big and bulky and it would take up too much space. It's better to store it as starch as it's more compact. So if we know that glucose is produced but then stored as starch, starch is also an indication that photosynthesis has taken place. So we can write that glucose produced in photosynthesis is converted into starch. This part of the question shows a classic experiment to test for the presence of starch in a leaf. Step 1 of this investigation requires you to stop all the chemical reactions in the leaf by boiling for 1 minute. If we didn't do that, then chemical reactions in the leaf would carry on, and chemical reactions require energy very often, and that energy is usually gained from the glucose, but we're storing that as starch. So starch reserves actually get broken down into glucose so that they can be used for energy for chemical reactions in the leaf. So if the chemical reactions in the leaf were not stopped, the amount of starch in the leaf would decrease because the starch would be broken down to use for energy. So our answer can be as simple as starch could be broken down into glucose. It's important to remove the green colour from the leaf before adding the iodine solution, because if we didn't do that, the iodine, which is an orange-brown colour, would be going straight onto the green colour of the leaf, and this would make it really difficult for us to see a clear colour change. So by using the ethanol, we can bleach the leaf and remove the pigment from the leaf. And so in the picture below, you can see that the second leaf down is actually now completely white. And that's just because we've removed the chlorophyll from it, giving us a blank canvas to then add the iodine. Our answer can be as simple as, so the colour of the iodine can be seen. The next question is asking about safety precautions. The biggest safety precaution with this particular experiment, you need to link to the part of the question that says ethanol is flammable. In the first part of the experiment, you're boiling the leaf in water to stop any chemical reactions occurring. And then you're going to get some ethanol out and you're going to place the leaf in the ethanol to remove the pigment. But ethanol is really flammable and you've just had a Bunsen burner heating water. So the biggest safety precaution is that you need to make sure that the ethanol is kept a long way away from where you're heating the water. You also probably want to make sure that you've switched your Bunsen burner off so that you don't have any possibility of the ethanol coming into contact with the flames. Another way around it would be to not use a Bunsen burner at all when you are heating the water. You could use a water bath, or you could just use water from a kettle. That should still work. For this final part of the question, we need to just refer back to figure 1, and you can see it's a variegated leaf. This means that it is partly green and partly white. Now the white areas will not have any chlorophyll present, so they aren't going to be able to photosynthesize. So we wouldn't really expect to find any starch in the white areas. In the green areas, the middle part of our leaf, we would expect to find photosynthesis taking place, and therefore we would expect to find starch. So when we add the iodine, we know that iodine only turns blue-black in the presence of starch. So what you would expect is for the outer part, the white part of the leaf, to turn orange, because that's the colour of iodine. But with the presence of starch in the middle of the leaf, we would expect that orange colour to turn blue-black. Blue-black is the only phrase you can use to describe the colour change for iodine. I hope it's been useful to recap photosynthesis and apply the knowledge to some of these exam questions. If you need any further help with photosynthesis on this topic, please don't hesitate to come and find one of your science teachers. Thank you. Bye.